Fostoria Community Band has a medley, is that correct?
Yes.
And if you were in any of the branches of the services, they will play your song and you stand up and be recognized. Thank you so much, Fostoria Community Band. This time we have a prayer and poem by Chuck Parsons. Where's Chuck? There's Chuck.
Thank you, Commander. Good morning.
Good morning.
Let us pray. Father of us all, in the deep depth of our silent reverence, we realize the truth of the inspired words, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. As comrade after comrade departs, we march on with our ranks grown thinner. Help us to be faithful unto thee and to one another. Look in mercy on the widows and the children of our departed comrades. We beseech thee, and with thine own tenderness, console and comfort those who are bereaved. Heavenly Father, bless our country with freedom, peace, and righteousness. Through thy favor, may we meet at last before thy throne in heaven. We praise thy great name forever and forever. Amen. Flanders Fields was written by Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae, MD, 1872 to 1918, from the Canadian Army. In Flanders Fields the poppies blow, between the crosses row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky the larks still bravely singing fly, scarce heard aim the guns below. We are the dead, short days ago. We lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now away above the cannon's roar, scarce heard aim the guns as yore, before you slept in Flanders Fields. The faith with you we've kept and battled with the foe. On crimson fields by you we've slept where the poppies blow. The torch you flung to us we caught. With blistering hands we bravely fought to hold it high, to guard you through the night, and at the dawn to guide you through the light when you awake from Flanders Fields. Thank you.
Those airplanes you just heard flying over were F-15 Hornets from the 180th Flight Wing out of Toledo in honor of Staff Sergeant Paul Heiser. His grandson is the pilot of one of those aircrafts. That's as close as we can get him to it this year.
Okay, we have another selection from the Fostoria Community Band, do we, at this time? I don't know if they're gonna fly over once again or not. Beautiful to hear their powerful engines. Our student that was going to present the Gettysburg Address was not able to be here this morning, and Ralph Corper has stepped in to give the Gettysburg Address. Ralph, appreciate you coming in for us here.
I think he's running with the ex-mayor. That's why he's not here, or the mayor. He's sick. Good morning, everyone. Lincoln's Gettysburg Address by Abraham Lincoln. President Abraham Lincoln gave this most famous speech, the Gettysburg Address, on November 19, 1863. At that time, the U.S. was in the middle of the Civil War. Lincoln gave the speech at the dedication of a cemetery for the soldiers who had died during the Battle of Gettysburg. He writes, 87 years ago, our fathers brought forth upon this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met here on a great battlefield of that war. We are now have come to dedicate a portion of it as a final resting place for those who gave their lives that this nation may live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot concentrate, we cannot hollow this ground. The brave men, living and deceased, who struggled here have concentrated it for it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they have done so far, so nobly carried on. It is rather for us to be here to dedicate the great task remaining before us, that these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which here gave the last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these dead men shall not have died in vain, that this nation shall have a new birth of freedom, and that this government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Thank you.
We'll now have the General Logan's Order, who is going to be presented by Caden Diaz. He is a student of Arcadia. He is a Boy Scout of America. He, at the last minute, was asked to do this, and he's gonna do it through his phone, believe it or not. We didn't even have a copy of it here. The person that was supposed to do it has the copy, written copy, so he's gonna enter the digital age, I guess, for us on this Memorial Day.
Good morning. This is the general orders. I'm just going to read this. Thank you. The 30th day of May 1868 is designated for the purpose of strewing with flowers or otherwise decorating the graves of comrades who died in defense of their country during the late rebellion, and whose bodies now lie in almost every city, village, and hamlet churchyard in the land. This is observance. No form or ceremony is prescribed, but posts and comrades will in their own way arrange such fitting services and testimonials of respect as circumstances may permit. We organize comrades, and our regulations tell us, for the purpose, among other things, of preserving and strengthening those kinds of fraternal feelings, which have bound together the soldiers, sailors, and marines who united to suppress the late rebellion. What can aid more to assure the result by cherishing tenderly the memory of heroic dead who made their breasts a barricade between our country and its foes? Their soldier lives were the reveal of freedom to a race in chains in which their death, the tattoo of rebellious tyranny in arms. We should guard their graves with sacred vigilance. All that consecrated wealth and taste of the nation can add to their adornment and security, but is a fitting tribute to the memory of her slain defenders. Let no wanton foot tread rudely on such hallowed grounds. Let pleasant paths invite the coming and going of reverend visitors and fond mourners. Let no vandalism of avarice or neglect, no ravages of time testify the present or to the coming generations that we have forgotten as a people the cost of free and undivided republic. Choicest flowers of springtime, raise above them the dear old flag they saved from dishonor. Let us in this solemn presence renew our pledges to aid and assist those whom they have left among us as sacred charges among the nation's gratitude, the soldiers and sailors, widow and orphan. It is the purpose of the Commander-in-Chief to inaugurate this observance with hope that it will be kept up from year to year while survivor from the war remains to honor the memory of his departed comrades. He earnestly desires the public press to call attention in this order and lend its friendly aid in bringing it to the notice of comrades in all parts of the country in time for simultaneous compliance therewith. Department commanders will use every effort to make this order effective. Thank you.
You did a wonderful job. What a wonderful voice. At this point, we have the Secretary's reports of those members from our posts that have passed. If you would come forward and come to the microphone, please.
Secretary's report for AMVETS Post 69. I have 5 deaths to report. John A. Roush, George O. Gwangwer, Richard Waldron, Gary M. Weimerskirt, and William Boone.
Unfortunately, the Sons of AMVETS Post 69 have a few people this year. Jeffrey Brookman, Neil Yates, Gary Big Daddy Miller.
Ambo's Post 69 only has one to report. It was a wonderful Elizabeth Powers.
Earl Faust Squadron 73, Sons American Legion, has one death, Neil Yates.
Fostoria American Legion Post 73, we have 3. Lois Collins, Becky Maligan, and Fern Kinn.
Earl Faust, Post 73, American Legion Riders, has no report.
It's my sad duty to report that the American Legion, Post 73, lost 3 Legionnaires over the past year. Stephen Trokey, Gary Weinmeister, Richard L. Curry.
You ready, Dwayne? At this time, I have the pleasure of introducing Dwight Damschroeder, Master Sergeant retired, who has served his country in military service for 31 years. Dwight began his service in the United States Marines. Hoorah. In 1982 and served with the 1st Battalion, 2nd Marine Division until 1989. He then joined the 200th Red Horse Squadron, United States Air Force National Guard in 1989 and served until his retirement in January of 2014. He was mobilized in support of the 911 operation enduring Iraqi freedom. Dwight is a highly decorated veteran with many meritorious service awards. He is married to Patricia since 1982, has 2 children and 7 grandchildren. He is very active in his Presbyterian church and faith. He is a free and accepted Mason, a Knight of the York Cross of Honor, a 33rd elect of ancient and accepted Scottish Rite, the president of Fort Stevens Fireland Chapter of National Sojourners, an organization of active and veterans of military service who are also members of the Masonic fraternity. He is a past commander and the current chaplain of Weicker Smith Post 17 of the American Legion and current chaplain of Fremont Post Veterans of Foreign War. I proudly present your Memorial Day speaker, Dwight Damschroeder.
Good morning. It's good to be in Fostoria. I've been a lot of other places on Memorial Day, far from here, far from the United States, and it's always good to be in the U.S. And for those of you, you heard my name, people are asking, are you related to this Damschroeder or that Damschroeder? I'm related to everybody named Damschroeder. So if you know somebody named Damschroeder, I'm related to them. Memorial Day, when I was a kid, didn't mean a whole lot. It meant we were going to go to a cemetery and deliver flowers and things like that. Over the years, it's come to mean more and more and more to me, especially in the times when I've been overseas. I was in Okinawa in 1983 when the Beirut bombing happened. I had friends that were killed that day in Beirut, and I still miss them to this day. I have been so many places, but today I'm going to tell you a story about two brothers. And this was a long time ago, it was before my time. But two brothers of a farm family decided that they should go into the army during World War I. They were from a large family. They had six sons. These were the two of the younger sons. The younger one, named Scott, decided to enlist, and then not too long after that, his brother Ray, who was just 3 years older than him, enlisted as well. They went to the Meuse-Argonne Forest, and I had the opportunity, I had to read the last letter that Scott had sent home to his brother, Orville. And he was talking about how France was really pretty. He was sitting on a swing that night riding home before going to the front in the next few days, and talking about how it would be nice if his fiance could be there with him right at that moment too. But that wasn't to be. And then just 3 short weeks later, a little over a month and a half before the end of the war, he was killed. His brother Ray was over there too, but he was in another area at that time. And his brother Ray is my grandfather. And he's the grandfather of some of the other people that are here today. He mourned his brother for the rest of his life. His brother is buried over at Woodville. There's a cemetery just north of town between a bunch of quarries. And in the very back corner is where Scott's buried. Every year, my grandpa would go there. He would place red geraniums on his parents' grave and white geraniums on Scott's grave because he felt Scott had lived a pure life. Over the years, as it always happens, we get older, and it came to the point where he couldn't drive anymore. And so he would call my older brother, who had just got his license at the time, to take him because he could no longer drive. And so my brother Lou took him every year until the year he passed away over there to decorate the graves. And every year it was the same. They'd go pick up geraniums, they'd plant the geraniums, and Grandpa would sit Indian-legged on the ground and weep for his parents and weep for his brother, just like he would have done when he was a young man. As he was getting close to death, and my brother took him again, he lamented to my brother how after he left, probably no one would go to his grave again because nobody would know him anymore. At that time, my brother said, "I'll continue the tradition even after you're gone." Grandpa always, he said, "Don't make a promise that you can't keep." And my brother has kept on taking the geraniums there every year. I didn't get to make that promise to Grandpa. I was in the service when he passed away, but I've tried to make sure and go and visit his parents and Scott's grave each year. Sometimes we wonder, what would have happened if they had not passed away, or if they had not been killed in war? We'll never know for sure. Would they have made a difference? Even in death, I think they make a difference. Scott has made a difference in the life of our family all through my life. Even though I never met him, he was gone long before I was born. Yeah, I'm not that old. But he made a difference. He made a difference in my grandpa's life, his whole life, and the way he saw things, the way he did things. He was always respectful and kind of quiet. He didn't like speaking about the war. And that's something that we need to do. All you who are veterans here today, you need to tell your stories to your children and your grandchildren so they don't forget the sacrifices that you made and the sacrifices that were made throughout this country. Out here in the cemetery, there are lots of flags. There are a lot right close by, but there's flags all over. And when you go by cemeteries this time of year, there's so many flags, and sometimes you forget. A lot of those are the ones who came back, and they make a lot of difference in our lives too. And they talk Memorial Day is about the ones who were killed, but we put the flags out to all the veterans because they made a difference too. They came back to make a difference in this country and to make a difference in each of our communities. I feel so fortunate for the people that were the mentors when I was growing up. Many veterans. I go and decorate cemeteries every year, and as I'm getting older, I'm knowing a lot more of the people because they were my mentors, and they showed me what we need to be as Americans. I would ask you today and every day, when you pass a cemetery and you see the flags flying, think about those who you know that were in the military, those who made a difference in your life. Learn about those who did not come back except for in a box. And think about what it means to be an American. I feel so fortunate to be an American. I was in D.C. when 9/11 happened, and I know what happened all over it. And I did 5 trips over to the Middle East. We have lots to be thankful for, that we're Americans, and to be here today. Always remember that. Do not take freedom for granted. Even if we don't agree, because some are conservative, some are liberal, we're all Americans, and that's the bottom line. I want to thank you for letting me come here today. I feel fortunate to be in Fostoria. It's near my home, and I've been here very often. God bless America, and God bless the United States.
Thank you very, very much, Dwight. Before we close, I want to be sure to thank the heroes that are here, the police and fire units of Fostoria. They're protecting us each day, every day, 24/7. We want to tell you that we appreciate you very, very much.